and welcome. My name is Michelle and this is my Flosstube channel, and today I am going to do a mid-year WIP parade. I've never done one before. Last year when I started my channel, I did a 3/4 year WIP parade, as I thought was so clever because I started my Flosstube October, September, 3/4 of the way through the year. So I am here to do my mid-year WIP parade, so that way hopefully December, January, I can do a regular end of the year WIP parade. So I just did some math. I have my books here. I use the cross stitch planner by My Crazy Life, my Lori's Crazy Life. Hold please. My Crazy Life Lori. And so I have a lot of information. I don't know. I'll try to give all the details as much as I can, and we'll just see how this goes. So for any of you that have found me because this is a WIP parade, hello. I love Flosstube. Let me just say a few words about myself really fast. I love Flosstube and cross stitching. I'm also a quilter, so I'll talk about the quilt behind me in a second. I am married. Been married for 11 years now. Thank you, Aaron Bird. And we have 2 dogs, Luna and Lily, and we live in Fort Worth, Texas. So that's me. I've been cross stitching, as I like to say, seriously for about 2 years now, and semi-unseriously, I've dabbled in cross stitch kind of my whole life. My mom got me into it. She's done a little bit of cross stitching throughout her life as well, and that kind of bled over into my interest. I really got started into cross stitching, like I said, about 2 years ago, and I'm sure it was a Lori Holt situation, and I have like this autoimmune thing, and so in terms of quilting, I didn't do a lot of hand quilting. I did a lot of hand binding. I loved English paper piecing, but my autoimmune issues really affected my hands. And so I kind of put a lot of hand sewing on the side for a few years, probably about 3 years. And then for some reason I picked up a cross stitch and thought, this isn't as hard as I felt English paper piecing was and hand binding on my hands, and so that's kind of what led me here today. So enough about that. This is gonna be you're in for the long haul. I did some math. I have about 29 WIPs, and I will talk. WIPs are works in progress, and I will do my best to give you all the information as that I can. I have a board with some clips. Hopefully that won't be too unmanageable. And we are gonna see how this goes. I have loosely grouped things together in terms of season. I'm a pretty seasonal stitcher, but who knows? It's gonna be great. So first let me talk about the quilt behind me, and then we'll look into cross stitch. So the quilt behind me is called Country Home by Sherry McConnell. This was a box kit from Moda, and I'll have Erin put in a picture here of the quilt itself. And it used the Sherry and Chelsea fabric line Emma. It uses a panel, like this is a panel right here, this Dresden plate, and then right behind me, this is like my favorite house. I'm so glad I'm covering it up. This is also a part of that panel. So it kind of alternates the pieced houses with these kind of panel houses. So I thought that was very summery and appropriate for today. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so my first WIP, I do not have a picture for, or I don't have a cover photo for. I'll have Erin put one in. This is Chili by Stacy Nash, and I got this last year at the Jingle Ball. I'm using roughly all the called for colors. And here's my fabulous start. Let me get that in a little closer for you, people. Yes, I know, pretty sad. I started this with my friend Alex Stitches, and she's done and gone 100 years ago. I'm stitching this on 40 count Cream Puff by Miss Crescent Crown. And like I said, I'm pretty sure it's all the called for colors. Pretty sure. So, WIP number 1. What a great start, Michelle. As you can see, we're starting with winter / Christmas / autumn. Yeah, I know, kind of sad. What does that even look like? So, and here's my bag. I made this myself with some Lori Holt and Christmas fabric. I have this cute little charm on it. Very cute. I'm going to be putting things back in their bags. I'm not going to do zipping, but I am going to be placing things back in their location. Because if I don't, it will be a disaster. Okay, let's get to the next WIP. This one I do have a cover photo for. This is Mistletoe Manor Sampler in Smalls by one of my favorite designers, well, the two of them, Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery and her daughter Blueberry Ridge Designs. I bought this for this thing right here. I love houses. You will see that as very much a theme throughout today. So I have the big one, and I'm stitching it. I got the kit. It says it's stitched on 36 count Kentucky Rye by the Grateful Thread, and this is with Baldani threads, which I had never used before, but they're fun. So here's what I have so far. This is a pretty decent start, I think. I have almost all the words done. One thing about me, don't like letters, don't like words, so I think I have one word left, thank goodness. And I was trying to get over to that house. I outlined the roof there and was kind of doing a little fill-in. I'm going to a retreat next weekend, and this is a project I worked on last year there, and I will work on there again. And I love it. This is one of my only 36 count projects. I prefer a 40. Okay. This bag was this was like one of the first bags I made with patchwork. This is a Corey Yoder line that I do not remember the name of at the top of my head. It was her first Christmas line, if that is helpful in the slightest. Probably not. Okay, next is, let me get the pattern. It is Comfort and Joy by Plum Street Samplers. This is another one I think I'm going to take to my retreat next weekend. I'm stitching on 40 count baked clay by Fox and Rabbit with all the called for, sorry, I don't know what that is, with all the called for colors. I got this for Christmas from my lovely mother from Country Sampler. And this is my little start on it. I think it's pretty good. I am usually a top lift starter. So I have kind of been saving this for some unknown reason. For July. My first year to do Christmas in July was last year, and I really enjoyed it, and which is very strange because as a quilter I never did Christmas in July. And then last year I went to a retreat and the theme was Christmas in July, so what else was I to do but do Christmas in July, and I really enjoyed it. This is another bag I made. This is a Lila Boutique line. This is her first Christmas line. Can't not tell you what it's called, but I love this bag. It's one of my favorites. This housed Winter Moon when I finished that last year, right at the end. Okay, next, I gotta get coordinated here. Maybe this won't be as long as I thought. I feel like I'm going pretty quick. Okay, last year at the same retreat, Chatterbox retreat, one of the ladies sitting at my table, there was like a box you could buy with goodies in it, and for unknown reasons I was like, who needs that? I needed it because I wanted everything in that darn tootin' box. But one of the ladies at my table was very kind enough to give me her pattern. Thank you. You know who you are. And this is the pattern. It's called All Is Calm by Annie the Proper Stitcher. I think this is out now, so don't think that you can't get it. I'm stitching it with all the called for. It's 95% DMC with one overdyed thread. Cayenne, I'm pretty sure. Everyone loves cayenne. And I actually pulled this out for apparently Jolly June, and I got some more work done on it. So I'm stitching this on 40 count. I believe it's Sugar Cookie by Color and Cotton. And I have all that top border done except for little bits on the birds because I was waiting for all the birds to be done. And I did some more work on the house. Let me get this dog hair off of here. And you might not be able to see the white, but I can see it and I think it looks good. Let that color settle for some reason. So I like it. And another dog hair. Okay, this is the latest Corey Yoder fabric line, Starberry, I believe. And that's the bag that all his calm lives in. I made this last year after the retreat because that's when this fabric line came out. And I love it. Okay, next. This is a very popular WIP. I feel like everybody's stitching it, including me. Oh. This is, of course you want to know what it is. This is Quaker Christmas Stocking and Sampler. Oh, sorry. How's that? Quaker Christmas Stocking Sampler. I'm doing the sampler. I think the shape of the stocking is kind of goofy, so I didn't do it. And if I stitched one stocking, I would want to stitch another one for Aaron. And I kind of showed him some that I thought he would like, and he didn't say I must have that one. So I'm doing the sampler. And I'm okay with that. So this is what I have so far. I am stitching this with the called for MPI. I got them from my good friend Olivia at Hillside Rookery. And this is what I have so far. I'm pretty happy with it. I obviously would like to stitch on it some more. Maybe I'll bring this next weekend too. Okay, Brooke, how many projects is too many to bring to retreat? A gazillion? So, I believe this is also stitched on Cream Puff by Miss Crescent Crown. I really like this fabric. If you have the opportunity to try some, I highly recommend it. Yeah, I think that's what it's stitched on. Guess I could look it up. Crazy, I know. Let's see. You should time me. Quaker Stocking, Cream Puff. Good job, Michelle. So there's that one. And I like that it's non-traditional Christmas. I'm a non-traditional Christmas guy. I love traditional Christmas too, let me be clear. But I always like a non-traditional Christmas. This is also, let me fix that, in a project bag I made myself with some Lori Holt fabric. And this has that really cute ornament tag on it. Okay, next. This is Peace and Goodwill by Brenda Gervais, also very popular from last year. I have stitched the autumn one to completion and it's framed hanging on my wall. And I've started, as you'll see later, the spring one. I don't have a ton done on this, which I might surprise you as how quickly I finished the autumn one, but I really got stuck on that snowflake Quaker piece right there. I don't know, my mind can't wrap around how to stitch it yet, which might seem really stupid, but that's how it goes. I'm stitching this on the called for 40 count Tobias, and this is my little bit that I have. So when I pulled this out the other day, I was kind of surprised at how much I had done already. Like, I got that whole house pretty much done. Go me. For some reason the fabric's looking very yellow. It is a lot more brown than it looks like right here. Whoops. But there it is. I got this as a kit from Farm Girl Dry Goods. I'll finish that this year, I'm sure. Okay. This bag is another bag I made. It's probably easier to point out the bags I haven't made. This is a Robin Pickens line. I don't know what it's called. They came out last year. I also got this last year at Chatterbox. Okay, that wasn't too many Christmas whips, I feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. That's pretty good. For some reason I thought it was way more. But if you remember my whip parade from last year, there are some whips missing. So, and really one winter. Maybe a couple winter. Yeah, a couple winter. So, not a ton of Christmas whips. I love Christmas. Christmas is absolutely my favorite holiday of all time. And I would probably have 100 Christmas whips if I could. So, anyway, I'm trying to finish things this year, I think. And I have a lot of ginormo whips, I know. Okay, next is autumn. Fall is also my favorite holiday season to stitch for. So my next whip is a Teresa Kogut. This might be my only Teresa Kogut now. Don't quote me on that. This is, and I'm stitching the main one, Hello Autumn. I started, sorry for the ring light. I started this last year, and yeah, I love it. So, I am stitching this on. I am not sure what the name of the fabric is. I know it's a color and cotton. Let me see if I can find it really fast. The problem is with autumn, I could have started it November 29th. Let's see. Hello Autumn. Look it. I'm pretty good today. 36 count sandbar by Color and Cotton. I think it looks really good. So this is my start. I think it looks pretty good. I got kind of mad in the beginning because the border does not flow for me yet. It's very start and stop, and I don't like that in a border. So then I moved on to this pumpkin, and that was really fun. And then I started this giant old basket. And I don't know. I do really like this project. It is on 36 count, which isn't my norm because I probably didn't have a lot of fabric to pick from at the time. So 36 count it was. I don't know when my transition was from 36 to 40 as a preference, but I do think that Color and Cotton is tight enough that the coverage is really good, and I do like that. I'll show you this. I didn't make this. This is by Starlight Stitching Co. Isn't that cute? I love this Teresa Kogut autumn line. I'm not going to open it up because everything will fall out. So I do love that project. Okay, next, another kind of sad little start. Okay, and what is this project, you may ask? Oh, I did not prep this back. And there's only two reasons why this is an autumn. This is Anne Hughes, 1852, which everybody and their mom stitched last year, and apparently including me. It's not that big. 173 by 158, I don't know. You'll see my wimpy little start. I am stitching this on something. 46 count. Is that over here? That was November. I'm stitching this on 46 count Rustic Charm by Seraphim. So it's this really, it's coming up a little more orange than it is in person. Here's my little start there. That cute little bird and random, oh, I stitched that little strawberry. I thought it was so cute, and whatever that blue stuff is above there. I started this, I went to the attic last year for the first time, and I went to their Autumn Abundance retreat, which was really great. Met some lovely gals there, and I picked up this kit. This is on 46 count. They did a silk conversion, and I stitched this bird there. And so, not much else has been stitched on there but since then. So, I need to get back to this. And Handmade by Sarah W. just finished hers. So did a lot of people. And I think the fabric is making me think that it's fall. And when I started it in November at that retreat, even though this is not really an autumn whip, but it's with the autumn whips, so that apparently is what I'm going to stitch on it. Okay. And this is the bag that it's in, which is the fall bag. Again, not helping the situation, Michelle. But I won this. Oh my God. I won this on a Flosstube from Handmade by Sarah W. So thanks, Sarah. So that's part of also why I put that WIP in there, because I want it from her channel, and every time I look at it, I think of her. Okay, next. Make sure I got this going the right way. I think this is the right way. Okay. Hey, little puppy. I'm a little busy right now. Do you want to sit down right there? You can't see this little puppy dog, but I got a little doggy right here. Okay, she's been very good so far. Do you want to sit right here? Sit right there? There you go. There's a little doggy right there. That's Lily. Okay, this is her Flosstube debut. Oh, there she goes. Anywho. Okay, this is a Blackbird piece in the Winds of Autumn book. And this is Mighty Acorn. Full cover photo. Mighty Acorn. And you know, I just saw this finished on Instagram, and somebody stitched this house in a blue, and I was like, if I can be lucky enough to find that post again. And I'm stitching this with all the called for colors. I do not know what fabric I'm stitching that on, nor when I started it. So I'm kind of falling off now. What was that? Mighty Acorn. There's September. Then I started in August. Oh, I did. Go, Michelle. This is on 40 count white tee by Color and Cotton. Okay, I'm not doing too bad. This is what I have so far. I have all of the border done. The inside border and the inner and the outer border. When I showed this on my WIP parade last year, I think a lovely viewer commented and was like, I'm working on that. And I was like, I'm going to work on that. And so I pulled it out and did a lot of good work on it. And then I got distracted by 37 other things. So, not the most exciting WIP progress to show you, but I did it. And that's how big it is. It is not that big. It's just, there's a lot of stitching. Hard to believe. Okay, this is in a Bountiful Blooms bag that I made by, this is Sherry Chelsea line. And one of my favorites of theirs. Ugh. Okay, next, kind of sad start. This is Autumn U. This was not on my WIP list for a long time. Don't know why. I started it, didn't write it down. So, good job, Michelle. Maybe at one point I was like, oh, I'll secretly stitch this for my mother. Apparently, I like to keep it a secret from myself, too. I don't know. I'm stitching this on the called for, well, I don't know if it's called for. It's 36 count flax. Look at that. And can I zoom in a little bit there for you? Pretty sad. I don't know. I'll get back to it. Okay, this is in a Fig Tree & Co. bag. I don't remember what this line is called. As I like to tell my students every year, like, I know all of their names during the semester. Then the next semester, I have to delete those names to make room for new names. So I have to delete things to make room for new things. I know, pretty silly. Okay. Maybe it'll come to me in a blaze of glory. Okay. This is Autumn's Bouquet. Brenda G. My gal Brenda. How cute is that? I love that darn tootin' squirrel. I have a whole squirrel bag. Let's show the bag first, apparently. Isn't that cute? Look at that tilted fabric. Look at those sweet little squirrels just sleeping. Having a laugh. Okay. This is on 40 count hot cocoa by Be Stitch Me. If you've never stitched on Bestitch Me fabric, I highly recommend this one. It is lovely. Look at that cute little squirrel. I pulled this out fairly recently, like over summer of all things, and that's because Tara Sullivan was like showing some fall finishes or something, and I thought I could stitch on autumn. So I pulled this out for like 3 days. I know. But I love that squirrel. Oh, let's get that dog hair. Nobody saw that, right? That big old dog hair. Isn't that cute? I should finish that. This has lots of squirrel patterns in this little bag. Okay. Do you want to see a really old WIP? This is The Pumpkin House by Hello from Liz Matthews. I love this. That Liz Matthews is a little genius. A little genius. This bag is not exciting. Okay, so I'm stitching this on. You want to know how I know it's old? It's on Ada. Not that there's anything wrong with Ada, but it's also with not one, but 2 strands of Ada. Look at that. But it looks good. I'm using that Tiger Lily conversion with Forbidden Fiber Co. And this was almost a UFO. I got into this weird mood like, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, maybe it was only a week ago. And I was like, I'm gonna go through all my WIPs. And so I did. And this was one that was on the chopping block. And my friend Lisa, Black Coffee and Grits, said, Michelle, you've made too much progress to just, throw that in the trash. And if it was with the called for floss, I might even offer it up to like a viewer if someone wanted to adopt it. But it's with that Forbidden Fiber Co. floss, and so I'd hate to give it to somebody and them not have that conversion, and I don't want to give my floss away. So it's a dilemma. So Lisa says I should finish it. Now, we're definitely at the point where I'm not going to do both pieces. I have 16 count Ada for the bottom too, but she said I should finish the top at least. So we'll see. We'll see, people. Here's my thrilling bag. I know. That might be the only non-handmade bag. Okay, do you want to see another really old WIP? I hope so. Now, I'm not saying things like 1/2 and 2/2 and blah blah blah. If I'm stitching 36 and 40 count, it's 1 strand. If I'm stitching anything below that, it's 2 strands. But I don't have that many projects of 2 strands. In fact, I think I have 3. And that was one of them. Do you want to see another one? Okay, let's get out. I did not prepare for this project either. Hold, please. You could probably guess what it is, but this is a Lori Hold project. This is the Quilted Witch. Look at that lady. She's crazy. Look at her. So I started this probably when it came out, which was like 2023. Don't quote me on that, please. And I had, like I said, just gotten serious, LOL. And I had discovered a LNS in Arlington. Sadly, the Stitch Niche just closed. And I was stitching on linen for the, this was my first probably ginormo, for me, linen project. And so I picked a linen. I was jazzed. I got those cute little pumpkin floss drops, y'all. And guess who does not like to stitch with 2 strands anymore? That would be Michelle Burt. But I am way too far to not finish this project. So, you want to see it? Here she is in all of her glory. This is on 32 count. Amber Waves. Sorry. I have another project on the same fabric. Amber Waves, 32 count, 2 over 2 with all the called for DMC. And I have made a mistake. So I have to remember the mistake, and I do remember it. I probably should write something down. I know that's hard to believe. But so that way when I get to the part where I can fudge it, I guess maybe is a better word. Futz with it, then I can do that. So this is gonna be ginormo. Better start saving my dollars for that framing. But I will finish it. I'm way too far. I finished another Lori Holt 2-strand project this year. Maybe this will be saved for next year. No, I can't do that. Okay, here's my bag. How cool is this? I don't have a lot of vinyl bags. I did make this one. Look at that, how cute. My mom pieced the block. She is doing this project with me, and so she pieced herself a block, and I said, hey, can you piece me one of those too? Thanks, Mom. I love it. So cute. The vinyl is sparkly. You probably cannot tell that at all. But it is. You can take my word for it. Oh yeah, no zippers, Michelle. Okay, y'all. One last autumn WIP. Use your words, Michelle. And this was a very random start. I was going to a quilt guild meeting, and I was like, I need a 2-strand. I need a project that I can see without much light. And apparently that led to 28 count. And I don't know what I was thinking. I had all the floss, blah, blah, blah. It's all good. This is a Louisa Wasman printing job. Thanks, Mom. And this is Simply Gather Many Simply Signs by It's So Emma. Get my face out of here. It's really cute. I love those darn tootin' acorns. I love fill-in. So I'm not afraid of a good fill-in project. And so I thought this would be fun. And it is, except for the 2-strand situation. Now, what am I stitching this on, you may ask? Excellent question. I have no idea. And I know it's 28 count. Let me be clear. Oh, wrong book, Michelle. That was this year's book. Let's see if I can find it. Gather. Here we go. 28 count Oaken by Picture This Plus. And I'm using, there's Classic Colorworks. Here she is. Look at that cute little pumpkin. I love it. It's gonna be, I don't think it'll go all the way down, but I don't know, right here. But I started with the pumpkin. I'm pretty sure this is all I did that one night at the guild meeting. So clearly I need to get back to this. Should I say that every time? Just because we all know that? No, I shouldn't. But why did I start another 2-strand project even though knowing that I don't like them? I don't know. Okay. And do you like how all the 2-stranded projects are fall? I don't know. This is by My So Quilty Life, Heather something. And this was like her first fabric line. I don't know what it's called, I'm sorry. But isn't that cute? Nothing to do with fall, obviously. I don't know. I don't know, y'all. Okay, hold please. I'm gonna move this basket. And get the next one. Talk amongst yourselves. As I'm gonna take a quick drink. Okay, I'm back. Here we go. Next. Now that was all the winter, autumn. So now it's basically everything else. There's some springy, I guess, and summery, and I don't know. We're just gonna go for the rest of them. Okay. Maybe we'll find another 2-stranded project that I completely forgot about. All right. Next is, where are you? This, my friends, is called Hope by Shakespeare's Peddler. This is a recent-ish start. I started this in April at a hobby house retreat in a hotel room with my mother. Mom didn't start this, but I did. I'm using the called for floss, but I'm not using, it says 40 count dark soil by XJU. I am using old linen by somebody. Helpful, Michelle. Let's see. It might be XJU. Oh, I just blazed past April. That's March. Hope, old linen by XJU. Okay, okay. I might know what I'm talking about. It's not going to be very big. Look how cute that is and tiny. Let's see if I can get it to look good. The red looks amazing. All the colors look great. Look at that cute little barn. I love it. So, I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm thinking. I need to get back to it. I love it. And I was really nervous about, obviously it didn't go as dark because I think dark soil is darker than this, but I was worried about seeing the colors, or the holes, sorry. Seeing the colors. The colors look great. I was worried about seeing the holes, but I can see these pretty good. I was pretty happy with that. And it was kind of like a test, like, ooh, can I see this darkish linen? I can. Go, Michelle. I kind of forgot about this WIP. This is in another project bag I made. I just found this little charm the other day and just threw it on this bag. Okay, next. Kind of another sad little start. Actually, it's not too bad, I guess. This is Audie's Pink House by Fox and Rabbit. Isn't that cute little house cute? I am stitching this with all the called for, except I did change the pink. The pink was sanguine, which I felt was a little red. And this is a pink house, y'all. That's pink. So I changed it to Charlotte's Pink. Not that that matters at this moment because the house is not even in the realm of possibility right now. So this is on 40 count Deer Valley Dream by Count on Linens. And this is my teeny little thing. It's going to be so small on 40 count, which I love. I love a small situation. And that's my measly start. I think I worked on it like 2 days. I thought to myself, well, this will be fast. Yeah, if you work on it. This fabric has a really light pink tone, and that's why I picked it. I thought it was really cute. So there's my measly start, but that's okay. And this bag I made fairly recently in May. This is a Hemingway pouch. I had this leftover quilted fabric from another bag that I made, and I was testing it because I was making my friend Lisa a bag, and so I thought I don't want to jack hers up, so I could jack one up for me. But it came out okay. Okay, next is one I have not worked on in a long time, and people are starting to work on it, and maybe that will entice me to work on it. So I'm looking at the screen of the camera, and I'm like, oh, what's on my shirt? It's nothing. It's on the little viewer. I'm sorry. Okay, this is Saltbox Quilt Sampler. I love houses. I love quilts. So this is marrying the two together. But the colors. The colors. I'm sure it looks great. I mean, I love the cover photo, but it's a little too muted for yours truly. So, Mom and I went to StitchCon last year, as you can see from my shirt. It says 2024. I didn't go this year. I did other stuff this year. And so we like took an epic trip journey, and so we flew to Cincinnati and did the whole QuiltCon, StitchCon retreat, and it was great. And then we there's all these great like cross stitch stores and quilting stores, but they're in the north and we live in Texas. And so where did we go? We drove to Indiana and saw my mom's college best friend Carrie, who was a delight and a treasure. Stayed with her for a few days. We went to Crimson Tate, which is a quilt store in Indianapolis, which was lovely. And then we like rented a car, and so we drove there. And the first thing about this rental car was it only had the newer USB-C, is that the right word? Charger portals, plugs. And so first thing we did was we ran to a random like grocery store and got a charge cable. Yeah. Anywho, so we went to Indianapolis, then we drove to St. Louis to go to Color and Cotton, which is where we did our conversion. And we saw my mom, another friend of hers from college. I think she was from graduate school. Her name is Michelle, my namesake. And stayed with her for a few days. Went to Color and Cotton, which was amazing. And then we drove to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and went to Silver Needle. And then we drove to Denison, where my mom lives, and then I kept going to Fort Worth. Anywho, you're like, show us the project, lady. Here's my lovely floss. I haven't used some of the colors yet, but all Color and Cotton. I don't have a ton stitched on it, but you can see what I have. This is it. So I'm doing the letters in purple. Purple's my favorite color. I don't know if that's been made obvious yet, so purple is my favorite color. And I've done some of the trees. This is on a 40 count something from Color and Cotton. It's a gray. It's a light gray. And I love it. Maybe I should bring this to a retreat next weekend. Who knows what I'm going to bring? Maybe all of these 29 WIPs. I stopped on that house, and maybe that's why I haven't gotten back to it. I stopped on that house because the house has a flag, and I don't want this to be patriotic. So I still have yet to figure out what I'm going to stitch there. I might just stitch some more windows. But I was trying to make it quilty, and so I don't know. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. This is in a Painted Leaf Co. bag. These cute little bees. It's my second bag I haven't made. Okay, next is a ginormo project. I mean, I am going to have to look up what fabric this is called. Okay, this is At Home by Brenda G, my girl, with that needle and thread. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that big old house. Can you tell I like houses? Look at this cool ass houses. That was not intentional. I was just trying to find a summery quilt and was like, I haven't shown this one yet. Anywho, Brenda G. I am stitching this with, did I start this year? I did. I believe so. I'm stitching this with the Roxy Flosstube conversion. But I changed one of the colors to something that I haven't decided yet. At Home, Roxy Flosstube conversion. This is being stitched on 40 count frost by Color and Cotton. This is where I'm at. Can you see that? Look at that big old border. So I got the bones of the outer border. I got that single stitch inner border. And I have this measly little flower. And I have these up here. I'm stitching this with my friend Alex of Salix Stitches, and she has been working on this, and I'm like, ooh, I gotta get back to working on it. So Frost is like kind of a dusty gray blue, which I thought was really appropriate for spring. Is this a spring WIP? I don't know. But I don't know, I loved it. Blue is one of my favorite colors to stitch on. You might not have gotten that vibe, but that's because a lot of the WIPs that are on blue. Well, there's some in this pile right here, but I have finished a fair number of them lately. Okay. Do you want to see this bag? This is Cherry and Chelsea. And this is, not Seashore Drive. A one that I can't remember the name of. It's a recent. My sister's disappointed at me right now. But I love the bag. I have a fat quarter bundle. Could not tell you what it's called. I think it came out near the end of last year because I gave it to my sister for Christmas. Okay, next is my one coffee WIP. We are coffee people at this house. And I have 3 coffee cross stitches framed on my wall. I need to finish this one. This is called Back to the Grind by Silver Creek Samplers. Isn't that funny? I love a pun. Back to the Grind. I started this last year. And I got the fabric, oh boy. I could not tell you when I started this. That does not bode well for finding the fabric. Let's see. I apparently started this last June. Let's go look. That's August. That's July. Oh boy. Last June I was in a starting mood. Probably because I went to StitchCon. Okay, I started this. Sorry, I'm reading all the projects, which is not helpful. This is on 40 count Pen Sierra by Grace Notes Fabric, and I am using the called for DMC. It's a really light purple fabric. Look at this, I'm stitching on purple. It's like a purpley blue. You probably definitely cannot tell that. Maybe you can, that looks pretty good. So here's the color of the fabric, and I'll zoom it in here so you can see the stitching. There's my kind of measly little start. I went really hard and heavy on coffee and eggs at the beginning of the year, and so I haven't really wanted to stitch on another coffee project yet. But I'll get there, because I want this hanging by my Nespresso. And I'm just using the called for DMC. Nothing super exciting. This I bought kind of recently. This is a project folder by Steno Stitches. I had to have it. Look at that cute coffee fabric. Okay. Do you want to see my other 46 count project? Probably. Alright, y'all. You can probably figure out the vibe of my stitching for the most part. And it's taken me a while to figure out what I do and do not like to stitch. I mean, I think you ebb and flow as a stitcher. And so, anyways, what the hell am I talking about? This is my one hats WIP. This is Memories of the Past. I started this last year for my birthday. And the main reason I stitched it, I'm trying to get in really close, is that border. The border is beautiful and it's purple. So I haven't stitched a ton on this, mainly because I don't like words and letters, and there's like a bazillion in that center part. So I'm wanting to change that center part to a house, but I have to find the house and insert the house. Now you might be thinking, Michelle, you could stitch everything else and then do that at the end. You are correct. But I haven't gotten there yet. So let me show you where I'm at. This is on 46 count Amber Waves. And I think when I showed this in my last Flosstube, I said, I have a page finish. LOL. Those pages are teeny tiny. So this is my pretty wimpy little start. This is a Ginormo project. It has a bit of a orangey tint, but I think it looks, I like it. I think part of my problem was I was trying to find a good needle, and I don't love the silks on this. I'm stitching this with the 103 silks, and I'll just show this while I'm yakking at you. I love the purples, obviously, but I don't love the silks on the spools. Like, I'm a floss dropper, and I love to be able to just pull a strand when I need it, and I can't do that with the spools. So if you have any tips, let a girl know, because I really think that is see, if I am not in the perfect stitching conditions, like I don't love the needle, or it's 2 strands, or apparently I don't like the spool situation. I mean, obviously I could take it off the spools and put them on floss drops, but there's a lot of silk on there. Like, I know people do that with the Vicky Clayton silks, but they're like little bobbins. And these silks, I feel like, have way more on them. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Or if you have a tip or a trick or something. I just, like, hate to measure it every time or whatever. I don't know. I'm being a little wimp. And also, I think I had a problem with the needle situation, and now I have smaller needles, and so I think I'll be a lot better. I just need to pull this out one day and see what I think now. So this is my bag. You can hear all my spools in here. This is a gingerbread line. I think it's called Bird Song, maybe. I love it. I think this is a cute bag. All right. Next, do you want to see a really wimpy start? I got a couple wimps in here. Let me clip. Okay. This is, I think I was making a Roxy Flosstube order, and I was like, I got to make it worth it, and because it's coming from Canada, and so I threw this in my cart. This was a little kit for some retreat, I'm sure. This is called Stitch Together. Isn't that cute? It was purple. I mean, the yellow's okay, but I like the chart, and I love the fabric, and I love the linen. So I'm stitching mine on 40 count Catnap by Roxy Flosstube with all the, of course, Roxy Flosstube threads. And here's my wimpy little start. It's a nice gray. Can you see that? Can you see my, 50 stitches? I almost UFO'd this. Should I? What do you think? Should I just reclaim the floss and the fabric and not have this as a WIP? Clearly, I haven't done anything with it. Look at this big old piece of fabric. It's like a lovely gray, like a green gray. So, let me know. Leave me a comment. Wow, I'm struggling to put this in a bag. This is a bag I got last year from one of my table mates at StitchCon. Isn't that cute? It's like a little mini bag. Okay, water break. Okay, I'm back. I think that's so funny. I cracked myself up. Can you tell? Okay, next WIP is Manor on Quaker Hill by my gal. You know her, you love her, Brenda G. I kitted this up this year in March at the Tinsmith's Wife. Let me get my act together here. It was spring break, and the first half of spring break I went to Seattle with my husband, which was lovely, and we hang out with really good friends of ours. And then the second half of spring break, because why take a break, I drove down to the Tinsmith's Wife in Comfort, Texas with my 2 gal pals, Lisa, Black Coffee and Grits, and Brooke, Stitch by the Brook. And we had a fab time. First of all, if you ever have the opportunity to go there, do it. They just have a great selection of everything. And we had a great time. Except for the windy part. So this is made at Quaker Hill. I'm stitching this on 40 count cappuccino, although I definitely spelled cappuccino wrong in my book, by Fiber on a WIP. Now, you will see that my colors are different than the called for colors. I am doing like a magenta-y, pinky, purpley conversion. This was a page finish for the most part. It's not too much longer, wider, longer. Not too much farther down here, but there's a fair amount left to go. But I powered through this pretty quickly, and I've kind of been, this WIP's been on my mind. $40 count. If you want to know the floss, oh, there's my, I can't tell you that right now because I can't find that little piece of paper, but I'm using Jasmine by the Gentle Art, Boysenberry Jam, Red Plum, oh sorry, Boysenberry Jam is by Classic Colorworks, Red Plum by the Gentle Art, and Briar Rose by the Gentle Art. Those are my purpley colors. I'm sorry, I know where that was. This is my bag my friend Brooke made. Isn't it cute? I love those houses. It was perfect. Okay. Next, a brief series on Quakers. This is M. Satterthwaite by Shakespeare's Peddler. I recently discovered I have a strange obsession with swans. Not in real life, but on clothes, on fabric, definitely in stitching. This was also purchased at, what am I doing? Purchased at that place I just told you, Tinsmith's Wife. And Brooke, Lisa, and I all started it together. I originally started it with a Weeks Dye Works floss. Didn't like it. This is 40 count cream and sugar. So then I rang up my good friend Olivia at Hillside Rookery and said, hey, can you order me a hank of NPI? So I was going to use Eggplant by Weeks Dye Works, which is a fabulous purple. Now we're probably going to see the purple vibe. And she said, heck yeah, Michelle. I said, great, thanks, ma'am. Not so many words. I'm trying to find the NPI color. So now I'm stitching with NPI, color 105. This is what I have. I have that big old first motif done, cream and sugar, and I started on the second motif. I love Quakers. I think they're beautiful. This is going to be a ginormo project. But I don't know. I just, like I said, the perfect storm wasn't right for me to stitch on it with that. This is my other start. With that Weeks Dye Works, but the NPI is great. This is another bag I made. This is called Sunday Brunch by Basic Gray. No purple, but you know. Okay, next is my purple on purple Quaker. This is Modern Folk Embroidery, Love Thy Neighbor. I think Jacob is a genius. I have a couple other Quakers, like, well, you'll see obviously, but I have some more Modern Folk Embroidery ones, but I'm like, I can't start them yet. Because you'll see. So this is my purple on purple Quaker, people. And I love it. This is where she's at. I can't remember the name of the fabric. I'm pretty sure it's Fiber on a Whim. I'll look it up here in a second. But I'm stitching this with the Roxy Floss Co. Grape Soda. Isn't that cool? I love it. Grape Soda. Let me look up the fabric. When do we think I started that last year? Don't clock me, y'all. What was that called? Love Thy Neighbor. I did the Advent last year. Here we go. Nope. Nope. Did I start that this year? That can't be right. Maybe I was doing a restart. Oh. Restart. Here we go. Restart was in September. I had started it on a different piece of fabric and wasn't loving it. So then I restarted it with the purple on purple. Let's see. What was that called? Love Thy Neighbor. Oh, here we go. 40 Count Hydrangea by Fiber on a Whim. I hope you really cared enough to persevere through that. So I was doing like one Quaker motif. Or no, this was my 2 strands a day project for like a brief moment. Maybe it wasn't too brief. Do we want to know? Do we care? I think I started it this year. Let's see here. Love Thy Neighbor. Okay. I stitched on it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 days for 2 strands. Now 2 strands, I really counted as like 4 strands because I pulled like 2 big strands off and then I cut them in half. I know, very efficient obviously, but I had gotten a lot of work done. So this is not the most beautiful bag there ever was, but I made it with some cross-stitchy Blackbird fabric. So obviously Quaker had to live in there. Okay, now my Quaker I've definitely made the most progress on is another Modern Folk Embroidery. I started this last year at the attic. This is Put a Bird on It. Or I purchased it last year at the attic. I wanted to start it, but the perfect storm wasn't there. I did a silk conversion to Belle Soie silks with purples. But I couldn't find the right fabric there. I wanted to, but I didn't. So here I am. I'm almost halfway done, I think. What did Stitch and Gem call it? Big Blue. I started on Big Blue, which is now Big Dark Purple. I love it. I absolutely love it. The Belle Soie is a dream to stitch with. This is on 40 Count Green Tea, I believe, by Color and Cotton. I was in the Fabric of the Month Club. Can you tell? I love this. And it has a swan on it. This is in one of my favorite bags. This is Teddy and the Bears by Ruby Star Society. Look at those bears. Okay. Sorry. Probably thinking, wow, what's up with this girl? Next, my final Quaker. Well, kind of. In the Quaker category. The Quaker Segway. This is a Quaker Dwelling by Kathy Barrick. I got the silk pack from Olivia B. at Hillside Rookery. I'm going to have to look up what this fabric is called. Alex, when did we start this? Was it March? No, it was April. For her birthday. Quaker Dwelling, yes. This is on 40 Count Lunar Moth by Bestitch Me. So, all of those colors in Quaker Dwelling are like greens and aqua teal situation, This is my kind of wimpy start. It's pretty, it's all right. I got that big motif done, and I did the little bird and one of the chimneys. Alex has picked this up again, and so I feel like I am wanting to pick it up again. Alex, whatever you're stitching, I'm gonna stitch. I just thought that all of the teals, etc., would look perfect on this. I know, how unhelpful does that look? Oh, my ring is about to come unclipped. I am doing one sub. The like door is like a red. I'm gonna stitch it in this magenta. So stay tuned for that. And this is in kind of another sad bag. It's not really. Another kind of blackbirdy cross-stitchy bag. And look at that cute charm with that house on it. Oops. Let me flip it around. Cute charm with the house on it. Okay. That's tote number 2. Whee! Alright. And the final bag. The final bag, oh whips. Let's take a brief drink break. Okay. You are definitely going to see some of my more recent whips that have not been on a Flosstube, so congratulations. Okay. Next is, I was working on this the other day. This is A Fine House Indeed by La Di Da. This was a birthday gift from my sister. Thank you, Jessica. The silks were. I'm using the NPI silks. And I'm stitching this on 40 count Maple Sugar by Lakeside. This is where I'm at. I did that left side border really fast, and then I just got distracted by a bunch of other whips. But I've gotten back to it. I think we're going on a really big trip in a couple weeks to Japan for 2 weeks. And I think I'm going to bring this with as a fill-in project. So I'm trying to just do a bunch of outlining so that way. I did random stuff, as you can see, because I wanted to see the colors. Because this looks very different than the cover photo. I like it more than I like the cover photo, which is probably good. So 40 count Maple Sugar by Lakeside. This is my cute bag it's in. This is another My So Quilty Life. This might be Dainty Meadow. She had 2 that came out fairly recently that are very similar. Okay. Next, I was working on this morning. You know, I probably should talk about all the things. Okay, this is Sampler Seasons Summer by Blueberry Ridge Design. Isn't that cute? I stitched the spring one last year, maybe the year before. Maybe it was last year. And I had a great time. I think I stitched it lickety split. And I had this kitted up, and I started it the other day because I also thought this would be a good project to bring to Japan. So these are my 2 Japan projects if you give a flying flip. This is on 40 count Sea Spray by Seraphim, and I'm stitching this with color and cotton stitch markers. How cute is that? I think this is just the most summery thing I could possibly have imagined. So I started with the border so that way I have lots of places to count off of, and I filled in these little strawberries. I'll probably fill in the other strawberries next, but then I kind of went rogue and started this random motif. I probably should stop working on it to save some of this easy stuff for Japan, but I love it. Isn't that cute? This is in a bee bag that I made. I cannot remember what this fabric line is called, but isn't that cute? Get my tassel out of there. Alright, next is a pretty sad start. If you are a dedicated viewer, if you're a viewer of this channel, you know that this is one of the Aaron Burt WIPs that he told me to work on. So this is This Happy Morning. I'm working on the, as he affectionately called it, night mode version. The black one. And I have not worked on it again since my last video where he told me to work on it. I'm telling myself I'm waiting for Lisa to start it. So we'll blame her. I'm just kidding. So this is my wimpy little start. I know, pretty sad. But it's a start, right? I'm stitching this on 36 count slate. 1/2. I know. I think I'm kind of like against stitching on this because the pattern is kind of hard to decipher. Like, because she did like a 2-for-1 where there's the 2 versions, and so, which makes sense, but I don't know. It's just not the easy. I can't just like pick it up and be like, oh, let me start. I have to go like read a whole paragraph. But don't worry, I'll stitch this. And this is in a Corey Yoder bag, Callie & Co. that I made. So the bag is very inspirational. Okay, next. This is Little Robin Designs, Emma Thatcher, 1854. This came out last year at market, I believe. There are over 1 words, which I will not be doing, but there's an over 2 verse that she designed and put in here as well. And I think I like this thing a lot better anyways. The over 2 verse says, a loving heart is the beginning of all knowledge. Isn't that sweet? As an educator, that vibes with me. Okay, so I'm stitching this with all the called for colors. I think there's one color, don't ask me which one it is, that I'm using the DMC instead of the called for, because at the time I couldn't get the called for. So this is where I'm at. I have a really good start on this. This is on 40 count. They called it Dust Bunny, but I have a piece of Dust Bunny from Fox and Rabbit now, and they do not look alike, but maybe it's just the same name. So, is this 36 count? No. It's 40 count. It's 40 count. I started this last year after market. People say all the time that they like things with a lot of motifs because it's like a little finish. I don't think I'm like that. But I'll finish that. I have too big of a start. This is an Emma bag, LOL. I thought this was appropriate. This is the same fabric line that the quilt behind me is made out of. I love this bag. We're getting down to the end, y'all. Is that hard to believe? I didn't time myself. I don't know how long this has been going for. As I'm like peering into the viewfinder thing. Okay, y'all. This was also considered for a UFO situation. It still might be UFO'd. This is Strawberry Fields Forever by Blackbird Designs. I know, isn't that the cutest thing? It's got the house, it's got the strawberries. I just like can't bring myself to work on it. So let me know what you think. This is on 40 count French Pear by number 12 Stitch Co. This is my start. So I don't have a ton done, but this is like just not calling my name. Should I just like live with it? What do you do in circumstances like this? I'm not unhappy with it. Like, I think it looks really good. Let's zoom in here. But I don't know. It's just, I'm not like, I gotta go stitch on that today. I'm using the called for weeks, whatever. Here's my bag. This is a strawberry lemonade by Sherry and Chelsea with my little strawberry charm. The bag makes me happy. I love the bag. I know. Okay. I think we have 3 WIPs left, y'all. This is kind of a sad start, but it's okay. Let me look at the fabric. Dusty. Okay. This is my last Brenda. This is the Earth Laugh. So this is my other Quakery-ish one that I have started. I started this for my birthday. Isn't that cute? Except now I think I pinned this up the wrong way. I did. Hold please. This is on. Let me talk to you first. This is on 40 count Dusty Road by Seraphim. I got this kind of kitted up, like you could buy the chart and the floss, but they didn't have like the piece of fabric cut specifically, so I just got a whole fat quarter. Here we go. This is my start. I just got that one Quaker motif and it goes this direction. So I'll get back to this. Don't worry. I'll finish this. Were you worried? Probably not. Again, I just got distracted. This isn't a really cute bag. This is that other My So Quilty Life one. I can't remember. I think the other one was Dainty Meadow, but I couldn't tell you for the Cottage Charm. Ooh. Did Michelle Burt remember? Cute bag. Okay. And we're down to 2. Let me pin this up really fast. Okay, let's talk about this WIP. This is the I Love More Strong by Blackbird Designs. And I got like influenced by Contented Needleworker Kim to start this project. I bought it at market last year and I really liked it because I love that pink house. How cute is that? But you're like, Michelle, you don't like letters. I know. Blackbird sometimes drives me nuts with all the color changes and colors that change from because they're, you know, old and everything. So this almost got UFO'd, but again, I've made too much progress. So I worked on this the other day. So I think my new plan, instead of finishing everything or doing the whole thing, is I think I'm going to get to that house and boom, she's done. I think that'll still look good. Will I stitch that bottom border underneath? Probably not. You might be thinking, Michelle, why didn't you stitch all your favorite parts, which is in these pieces on the back? Who knows what I was thinking? I know. But here's where I'm at. This is on 40 count straw flower, maybe vintage straw flower by Lakeside. I love it. I think it's beautiful. I worked on that top border. And the left side border? Over here. Is that the right side? This side border. I think it's beautiful. But I'm getting tired of it. So, like I said, and honestly, if I hadn't started that house and done this big old bird over here, I was so proud of this bird. I said, Aaron, look at this bird. He's like, wow, all the colors look the same. Poor guy is colorblind, but it's lots of browns. But she looks good. And I love the fabric. And I'm stitching with all the called for. I didn't change. And maybe I would have liked it better if I had changed the colors. I don't know. This is in a Robin Pickens fabric line. I don't know what it's called. I'm sorry. Isn't that cute? Very springy. All right, pals. The last one. And Aaron's gonna have to pop in a picture of this chart. This is a PDF. This is Strawberry Mountain by Jed X Stitch Jessica. I don't know how to say your last name. Dozier? That's how I'm saying it. Isn't that cute? I'm stitching this on, I'm stitching with all the called for DMC, and there's one Roxy Floss Co. It's like this main brownie orange color. Is there a word for that? I love the colors. Look at those. They're like bright and fun and happy. I love it. And I'm stitching that on something. Did I start that in June last year? Maybe I started it in July. It's called Strawberry Mountain. Did I even say that? Oh my god, I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Strawberry Mountain. It's a Bee Stitch Me fabric. It's August. Did you like how I can't figure this out? Here we go. Strawberry Mountain. It's called 40 Count Cinnamon by Bee Stitch Me. And that, y'all, is the last WIP. I pulled it out. I tried to pull it out in June for like the Strawberry Moon Sal, and I think I pulled it out one whole day. And what I did was I finished this motif down here. This one down here. And then I started like kind of briefly on this part because I want to get to that giant old strawberry in the middle, but I haven't gotten there yet. And I have not had the urge to pull this out. Again, I haven't figured out the flow of how I want to stitch it. And this isn't another bag made by me. I don't do a lot with vinyl because it's hard to find. But the vinyl is starry. Can you tell? Probably not. It's with Ruby Star fabric. It was fun to make. So, well, friends, you survived. I've survived. We've all survived. If you have any questions about any WIPs, please leave a comment. Feel free to ask. I don't really care. You can also message me on Instagram, michelle.bird. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching. If you're stitching something with me, please let me know, and that will definitely inspire me to pull it out. I hope you have a great day. Happy stitching, and thanks again for watching.